welcome to A Differentiated Life, Session 9. My name is Catherine Kissel and I'm a counselling psychologist, and during this time when we're all confined to our homes, I've decided to offer regular therapy sessions via Facebook as my way of supporting the wider community. My clinical approach is all about enhancing our differentiation, so my videos think about a live issue that we're facing and offer some practical tools to help you take a step towards a differentiated life. So today's session is all about those times when you're faced with a challenge that feels insurmountable and you think in despair, I just can't do it. Your challenge may have emerged because of lockdown, or it may have been a difficulty that's already there but has become more intense because of the times that we're in. You see, I think lockdown has placed us in a crucible time. The heat is on, and we are being brought face to face with some of our biggest fears, insecurities and anxieties. We can find ourselves paralysed, overwhelmed and scared. We might give our right arm to make it go away. These videos are all about encouraging you on the journey of self-discovery and growth, introducing you to the valuable and powerful tools that I use with my clients that enable them to take the first small step of facing their challenge, drawing close to their feelings, and gradually finding a way through when they thought there was no way. So today, it's personal, because I have to face my fears just like you. And in fact, this is the first video script that I wrote. I wrote it after I had to face one of my biggest fears, which was starting to do these videos. It draws on the focusing skills that I introduced in session 3, and the mind's eye journey that I went on seemed to fit the Easter story. So I've saved it for today, Easter Day. So what's the big deal about making these videos? Well, you see, a therapist's role is one who listens, one who hears another's story, and I'm most comfortable being there for another, supporting them. Making videos? Well, I'm putting myself forward. I'm stating a position. That's not my natural style. I also feel deeply. And while that's great in my work and gives me huge empathy, helping me get in touch with my clients, putting myself out there on social media, not so great. There's a whole mix of strong feelings going on out there. And then there's another part of me that wants to be accepted, wants to belong to the group. And so I wonder, what will my peers think, my fellow psychologists? Well, there'll definitely be mixed reviews. But alongside all of those anxieties, there was a part of me that really wanted to do these videos. You see, my clinical work and my research draw on insights and resources that are life-changing. And as therapists, sometimes it feels like we hold these pieces of gold in our hands, but no one else really gets to see. And when I get to teach and lecture about differentiation, I see people's eyes open wide as a whole different way of viewing the world opens up. It is as transformational for them as it has been for me. And I wanted to find a way to share that at the time in our lives when we need it most. So making these videos became a step of differentiation. How? I hear you ask. Well, differentiation is always about 3 elements. It's about identity, connection, and maintaining, being in touch with our emotions and being able to soothe them. So being in touch with our identity, maintaining a meaningful connection to others, and soothing and managing our emotions in the midst of balancing those 2 opposing forces. So a step of differentiation is where you decide to stand for something you believe in, that hits at the core of your integrity. It connects to who you really are, your deepest values. It's brave because you do this even though others will have different views. You are ready because you are calm. Your purpose is not to react or to be in opposition to them. Instead, you want to remain open and connected to them, whatever their response. But I was a long way from that. Every step I needed to make, from setting up the right Facebook account to figuring out what to say, felt impossible. I would spend hours just making the smallest decision. I felt panicky, overwhelmed, stifled, and in complete dread. My secondary emotional agenda had completely taken over and was running the show. I was binding my anxiety through indecision and passivity. But I really wanted to do it. So first of all, I admitted my struggles to my husband because I've been hiding them before. And you see, there is great power in saying our fears out loud. Putting words to them can be a first step to getting bigger than them. Making them explicit and thought about rather than hidden and felt bodily enables us to face them, and then we can do something with them. That's why therapy is so powerful. And then I reached the most powerful tool in my toolbox, which I call Focusing 2.0. So I introduce you to focusing in session 3, and I love Anne Wiesel-Cornell's approach, which is about stopping, connecting, accepting, and offering compassion to your feelings. It enables you to get bigger than them, to soothe them and calm them and experience peace. Focusing 2.0 is about following the mind's eye journey that this takes you on. It opens up the possibility of experiencing a shift in your whole way of viewing your challenge. And as I sat with that torrent of emotions, I sought a way of capturing the whole thing. And for me, it came as a mind's eye image. It felt like I was pushing against a huge boulder that was holding me in a small, dark cave. Now, I did try to find a boulder in the garden this morning, but the best I could find was a huge, dark chocolate egg. So imagine yourself trapped in there. There were chinks of light that came through the top of the boulder that told me there was something out there beyond the block that was preventing me leaving the cave. But as I sat with the image, I realised that I actually quite liked the cave. It felt safe, contained, known and secure. There was no reason why I really wanted to leave. And I sat with that feeling for a while, accepting it, being with it. And then there was a shift inside, a wistful sense that there was so much fun to be had out there, a wider world, and something began to draw me to it. Suddenly the cave around me felt damp and cold and stifling, and I don't know why, but a small voice inside said, "Can I come out, please?" And as the boulder slid to the side, the sun shone in, and a wide expanse of beautiful green countryside opened up. I took a step out and breathed the fresh air in. I noticed that my restrictive cave had been transformed into a refuge, there for when I needed it, but the boulder that had blocked me in, it wasn't there anymore. And there was a complete change in my feelings. I suddenly felt peace and stillness. A clarity descended. I opened my eyes, breathed deeply, and wrote the draft ideas for 5 videos. The block had completely gone. Now, I still had to solve the practical challenges and put the work in to write and record the videos. I still had to be brave and put myself out there and be ready to respond to a multitude of views that may come. But I was no longer pushing against the tide. My emotions weren't running the show. I had drawn close to them, acknowledged them. That gave me the space to explore how they felt and find a new way. Now, some clients find exploring this space easier to reach than others, but practicing the focusing skills that I've posted in the group will enable you to get more and more in touch with how you're feeling, and you'll gradually discover how you can go on your own focusing journey. So if you're facing a block or a challenge in your life right now, if you feel like you're stuck in the middle of an egg and you want to break yourself out, well, why don't you check out the focusing resources in the group and see where it takes you. I'd love to hear your story. See you next session.